Hiya.
Hello.
This is Jack, and I am
Dad.
Yeah, and today we are building Scott. Today we're building Iron Man. We're building Iron Man parts 15 through 18. Now we've not done an Iron Man video for the channel yet, have we?
No, we haven't.
No, we've done a couple that have been on Facebook and things like that, but we're going to tell you a little bit about Iron Man before we get into this, and we're going to show you kind of us building it.
Yeah, because we haven't done Iron Man.
Because we haven't done Iron Man. We haven't done Iron Man in ages. Now, I'll be honest with you when it comes to Iron Man. Compared to Ecto and R2-D2, I got to be blunt, it's a boring build. It's not fun. Because of the nature of it, because you're essentially building a person, you build everything twice. So you build the leg and then you have to start again and build the leg again. Except for the chest and the head. So you have to build 2 hands, 2 arms, 2 legs, 2
boots.
So there's a lot of repetition in it, and it's not fun. That's the reality of it.
And clearly it's not fun, because what if something gets scratched like this?
Well, we'll look at that in a minute. We'll look at what we're talking about with the scratches, and we'll just be honest with how this build is. When Iron Man turns up, we're just kind of like, eh. When R2 turns up, we're excited, aren't we?
Yeah.
When Ecto turns up, we're excited. And you can kind of see the impact of the build. With Iron Man, we're literally building bits, and we'll be doing that for the next year before we start attaching anything together. So we just have a box of bits. We're not really seeing any sort of growth on it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're just building bits. I mean, it's by this time next year, we'll have just finished the second leg.
Oh my god, that's going to take ages.
But when it's finished, it will look superb. It will look really good. Once he's done and he's built, it'll look amazing. So the actual finished model will look great. It's just building it is kind of a grind. There's no real... That's as honest as I can be about it. So the issues that you get, there's not much to do in them, which I think is the other problem with it. And I kind of thought maybe it's because of the nature of what it is. But it's not the case, because at the moment in France there is a company called Untitled that are doing a build of the Alien from the Aliens movies, and it's huge. It's like
big. Yeah,
it's like nearly 4 foot tall. And I thought it was like the same thing as the repetition, where you naturally got to build 2 legs, you got to build 2 arms, but they've mixed it up. So the first, I think, like 20 issues, you're building his head. And there's a lot more to do in each issue. This is most of the work we're doing you're never going to see, because it gets covered over with the armor panels and it disappears. And again, it will look amazing. I mean, like, we've seen France are way ahead of us on this one. France are kind of, I don't know why, but France are like the home of part work builds. So they get everything typically a lot sooner than we do. I know we're way further ahead on Ecto than they are. But when it comes to Iron Man, they're already on part 77, I think, 76.
Wait, 70?
Yeah, whereas we're on 18. Which
there's
is
so many bits.
I know.
Well,
there's 100 bits to Iron Man. So Iron Man's a 100-part build. R2's a 100-part build. And
what
the company that made this was originally a company called D'Agostini, which has now become FanHome, and they typically make their builds in 100 pieces. There has been exception. The Star Wars builds are slightly bigger. Whereas Eagle Moss, who make the Ecto, they also did the DeLorean. DeLorean was 130 issues, the Ecto is 141. So yeah, it is what it is, but Iron Man's just not, it's just not fun. That's the only way I can describe it. It's just not fun. It's literally, each week it's put 2 screws and that's it. And it's compared to, we watched Ecto build over lockdown. We watched it grow into this huge model, whereas this is build this now, put it in a box and forget about it for a year. So it's just not there. It will look gorgeous when it's done, and when we do put parts together, it looks nice. Like, we've built the entire right arm, and now the entire right arm looks great, but for the longest time it was a forearm and elbow, an upper arm and a hand in a box. The other issue we've got, which you'll see what Jack's playing with at the moment, is the quality of the Iron Man stuff has been questionable so far, and we're really early in. I mean, we've only had, this is our 5th delivery. The first 4 deliveries, we've already had 2 damaged parts, which we've had to get replaced. Now, to their credit, there is no kind of and ahhing or messing around. If you say this is no good, they send you out a new one. But it's quite alarming that I think we were only 6 parts in at that point, and 2 of the first 6 were damaged, compared to Mk./III, where we're on part 86 and we haven't had a single damaged part. So there's, I don't know, well, the jury's still out on this one, but it will look amazing built. Building it just ain't a blast. So what we're going to do today is we're going to build it, and we're actually going to film the build. This is how quick this is, so we can build all 4 parts, and I reckon under 10 minutes.
Under 10 minutes?
Yeah, I reckon we can do it in under 10 minutes. So that's what we're going to do, and we'll show you. I mean, especially on the first part we're about to show you, you'll see how little there is to do in some of these. And also, to put your minds at ease, so I've had some people ask me, I'd like to do one, but I don't think I'd have the skill to do it. You have, believe me. These are a lot easier than, say, an Airfix kit, which uses glue. Putting these things together, if you've got a screwdriver, it's literally all you need. So we'll show you what we're talking about. Okay, so this is what we've built in the first 16 pieces. Ignore this. So we built the entire right arm. And again, you can kind of get an idea of how big this thing's going to be. There you go. It's big. I mean, this thing's like 2 foot tall when it's standing.
I think the arm thingy will be about there.
Yeah, I mean, it'll, in the scheme of things, you can kind of get an idea of how tall this thing's going to be.
Yeah.
So that's the right arm. We built the head. That was the very first thing you get. We built one of the boots. We're not going to use that for a while yet because the legs won't be built until both the
yeah, and they do light up.
And we built the art reactor, so we can see the art reactor lights up. Do you want to light the rest up, Jack?
Yes. So to light the boot up, you have to take this off. That's a bit like the front of the boot. Then you press that black button, and then that appears.
Okay, you going to put the cover back on? So we can see there with the boots. The base lights up, and this is magnetics, they just drop on.
Yeah.
With the head, we just
hold.
turn that dial down, and then with the hand, again, these are magnetic clasps. We hit this one, clasp goes back on, and you can see the repulsor of the hand. There you go, magnets. The repulsor of the hand is lit. And when I was talking about damaged parts earlier, so it's not major, but we received this one, and you can see here all of the chrome was scratched off it.
Yeah, and I get to have it.
So Jack gets to have that one. It's where it's just a build-up of paint. Now, some people might not mind that, but when you're paying what we're paying for these, nah.
It's a lot of money, and we don't want it
I'm not
damaged.
accepting it. What was really bad was the original hand that we received.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you do to this.
It doesn't turn on.
There's no power going to it. So it was dead. It was busted wires. But that wasn't the
So
only...
I'm getting it!
So that wasn't the only problem with this. The other problem with this were the fingertips.
Yeah.
So the fingertips on these 2 fingers here are incredibly loose. So when it comes to positioning later on, it was no good. Compared to, say, this one, these are tight. There's, you know, you have to really got to kind of bend them to get them into position. That's where it should be. So hold. So this was just, everything about this one was dodgy. I don't know if this was an early assembly line build or what, but it just, no good. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now we're going to show you.
And if there's any more damaged bits, I get it.
There you go. Right, so I'm going to show you 15. I'm going to show you just how basic some of these assemblies are. Okay, so these are the components that come with part 17. Now we're going to be using a little oil because we're going metal into metal. 3-in-1 oil is a godsend for this. It just makes everything a lot smoother. It stops getting all swarf build up. So why don't you show us what we've got to do, Jack?
What we have to do is...
So this piece is going to attach to this piece.
Yeah.
No, you were right the first time.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, flip it over. Okay, now you see this hole here. You're going to put this one of your one of your IP screws into there. So in that hole there, you're going to screw this in.
Whoops.
That's all right. Take time, no rush.
Oh.
Try again. I'll hold it for you.
I'm being as careful as I can, but...
It's a very small hole to aim for. There you go.
I was shaking.
That's right, you don't got to be nervous. You've done this loads of times. There you go. I got it nice and tight?
Yep.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, and now we move on to the next part. Okay, so what we're going to do, this works as a buffer. So this is like a rubber.
Yeah.
That is going to just slot straight over there like that. One way around, we're going to put that on like that. And this is going to go into the forearm, and then we're going to screw all the forearm together. So what we're going to do is we take the piece we just made, and this is going to sit in, make sure we do this right, because we certainly don't have to do this again. It's going to sit in there like so. And our rubber's going to sit in there like that. And this will sit nice and flush. And we don't have to worry about that wobbling about when the hand's on. So that's how that's going to work. That's basically the wrist joint there. So we take this section here.
And then that's basically, yeah.
That's almost it. Now we are going to attach the entire thing together. And we are going to use the EM screws, which are into metal.
EM.
And what we're going to do, because we're going metal into metal, we are going to use the
oil.
3-in-1 oil. 3-in-1 oil is an absolute godsend on these builds, because the only other way you can really do this is to screw the things in halfway and then take them out and blow the swarf off. You don't need to do that. If you use 3-in-1 oil, it makes this whole thing a lot easier, because they will just go in first time, no messing about, and you also have no worry about anything seizing up, because there's a lot of movement and articulation in this model. Having a little extra oil in there is no bad thing. That's not going to want to go in, I don't think. There we go. Okay, so that's that one. There we go. The other thing as well is, if you do build one of these for the first time, an important thing, because these are tiny little screws, don't over tighten them. You want them tight, you want them firm, but if you over tighten them, you'll take the head off it. And if you take the head off it and you've got to go back and correct a mistake, you ain't getting it out. It really is that simple. You're going to need a very bloody small drill.
Yep.
To get that out. And that won't be easy. And then final screw is going to go in, and then this will be this complete, yeah.
Oh. And there we go.
So we now have a working elbow joint. So this is the forearm, the hand will attach here, and that's what that is. If we see the opposite, which is over here, you can see that these are the opposite joints.
Yeah, so basically here will be the hand.
So those will be the two. And if we've got the bad hand from earlier, these clip into here.
Yeah.
Once they're in, they don't come out.
No.
The other thing I'm not really happy with the Iron Man build, and I thought I'd done it wrong the first time, I haven't, is the there's a very strange movement in the wrist. So the wrist goes left and right, but it doesn't go up and down. So if you want this action for your repulsor, not going to get it. You get this weird left and right movement instead. I thought I'd put this in the wrong way. I hadn't. That is how it goes in. Strange, but that's what they ask you to do.
Okay.
That's it.
Yay.
So that's it. So you've seen a full build now. That's typically how we build these. But you've seen, for example, Iron Man is so basic, and that's not uncommon. It's not like this happens to be a particularly basic week. That's fairly normal. I mean, the average part of this takes 3 minutes tops to build.
I do want to say that I don't really like basic. I want a competition.
You want it complicated?
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, I agree. That's kind of what we do this for. We want something to be a little bit more complex. But again, it's gorgeous. I mean, the paintwork on it, the metallic red paintwork on it is gorgeous. The gold looks nice. The lights are all nice. But it's over so quick. You wait a month for this to turn up and you've built the entire thing in less than 10 minutes. Whereas with Ecto, there have been some easy parts on Ecto, but typically it takes upwards of an hour to put the 4 Ecto components together, if not more.
So like, say to do the door on the window, it takes about 1 hour.
Yeah, well, it was like R2-D2. We did R2-D2 earlier this week. I mean, it took me and Jack an hour and a half, close to 2 hours to complete R2-D2. Whereas you've just seen in real time how quickly it takes us to build Iron Man, and it really isn't that long at all.
It's about 2 minutes done.
Done. So it is what it is. Again, it will be nice when it's finished.
Yeah.
But it's not really blowing our socks off, is it? Really?
No, it isn't.
But we're going to stick with it. We'll see it to the end. And here's hoping it gets a little bit more detailed. But I think we're a long way off having anything that requires any kind of level of skill or complicated build to it, which is a shame, but it is what it is. But again, if you were thinking of doing one of these for the first time, this one would be great because it's quite simple. It's quite an easy. You don't agree?
No.
You don't think this would be a good one as the first one?
No.
But it's simple. Ease you in gradual. Or do you think you should go in hard? Baptism of fire.
Baptism of fire.
Baptism of fire. He's a harsh commander. That's what's going on there. It's got to be difficult or not at all. So that's where we are, and that's it. So we'll see you next month when we're building, you guessed it, more Arm. See you then.
Bye.